Welcome.
Hi, I'm Katie Morrell. I'm a creative and writer based in Bend, Oregon.
And I'm Karen Hawkins. I am the founder of Rebellious Magazine for Women and co-publisher and co-editor-in-chief of the Chicago Reader.
You are listening to Of Course I'm Not Okay, the podcast. Join us as we talk about mental health, coping with quarantine, and creativity.
For some of our episodes, we'll talk with writers, creatives, and activists to get their take. Thank you for joining us on this journey.
Hello, Karen. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day to you, Katie.
It's so nice to see you and to sit down and to make space for this every single week, even though today we're on a bit of an abbreviated schedule. We kind of jammed this between a few meetings, but you know what? That's real life, people.
That is real life. And it's the glamour of podcast recording when we finally launched Tuxedo Chocolates and this is our full-time job. I mean, we'll just have to be cranking these episodes out. So
oh yeah, 3 times a week. Yeah, like Mondays will be sponsored by Calm, and I'm still coming for you, Calm. Tamara Levitt, we still have you on our list. Up there with Michelle Obama.
I listened to her just yesterday. So
she's so great. She's so great. Yeah, I mean, I will say that even when we have an abbreviated time, it's still totally worth it to see you and to talk to you. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what happened this week. I had some highs and lows. I had some good stuff happen with work. I was like, oh, some clients coming, which was really exciting. And then I had some health stuff where, sometimes being a woman and having cramp situations is less than ideal.
I feel like less than ideal is such a kind way.
It really is.
To refer to that situation.
It's a pile of shit. Stinking, and you're stepping in it with your new Christian Louboutins, which I don't have, but I've heard of them. The ones with the the red stuff
sole.
Yeah, when you see them on TV, I don't know. Yeah.
The only reason I know how to pronounce that is that Lizzo song. Where the hell my phone? Yeah.
Right, same. Thank you, Lizzo. Also on our list of guests someday. Anytime.
Yeah, I also had terrible periods when I had periods. And I will tell you, as I mentioned last week, I'm 45, sunsetting into 46, and I'm halfway to menopause. Like, medical menopause is 12 months with no period. I'm 7 months in. If I get a fucking period between now and oh my God, I honestly don't know what I'll do. I am so banking on this being the end that if I have to restart that clock, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yes, this is the message to the medical menopause gods that are overseeing you, Karen. Yeah, take a fucking nap. Don't come back.
You're done here.
You're done. Move on.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. Go move into some retirement community with the rest of the menopause torturing other people. I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Or go back and just bug 22-year-olds who can take birth control pills and medicate herself. No, that's a horrible thing. I don't want any 22-year-olds to be in pain, but yeah, that's a beautiful thing. 7 months without your period. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Yeah. It's no fun. But how was your week?
I can't complain about it. I want to, but I won't. And I feel like before I forget, I should mention that today is International Women's Day, and it is the 9th birthday of Rebellious Magazine for Women.
Oh my goodness, Karen.
It feels like a miracle. Even saying that out loud, I founded Rebellious in 2012.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Whoop, 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 whoop. I hope we have some good transition music for this part. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's huge. 9 years.
Thank you. 9 years. 9 years.
Mm-hmm. That's an enormous accomplishment. Bravo.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm feeling good about that. And I feel like maybe this is a good segue to talk about International Women's Day.
Yes.
And why it's important to us and why why it's important to us and why I feel like it's important that we mark it every year.
Yes. To your point about like why it's so important. Well, first off, I have an issue that it's one day. It should be every day, obviously, but it's also nice that we are celebrating. At least we're celebrating it on one big day. Um, I feel like it's a really beautiful time to celebrate the women in our lives and like the women that mean so much to us. Like, I mean, personally and just in our like in media. I mean, all of it. Like, there's just I don't even know how to encapsulate that in a sentence. I just have so much love for so many women in this world.
Absolutely. And it's Women's History Month. International Women's Day is a day. March is Women's History Month. So we all have, these 31 days, 31, 30. A bunch
31,
of days.
31. Yep. I just did the little song super fast in my head.
Yep. To mark women's achievements and all of these things. But I'm with you. Like, I also am very grateful to have so many amazing women in my life. And I'm even grateful for the terrible ones because they've modeled for me how not to be.
Ooh, hell yeah to that. That is true.
Yeah.
Yes. You kind of have to have some benchmarks on both sides.
Yes, exactly. Like, ooh, yeah, I'm never going to do that. Thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for being my low bar. Yeah. That's really basically it. But it's so amazing. It's like when I think about the women in my life, like, yes, I have some really wonderful men in my life as well, but truly the people who have like formed like some of my most deep beliefs and the people who have been part, I mean, my grandmother, my mom, my sister, like there are people in my life that like I tear up even thinking about it's like I can't even articulate the amount of like impact they've had on my life. Like I just can't. Like and it's like I've, thought about how like my relationship with my sister, for example, it's hard to explain. Like I'm very, very close with my sister and I'm lucky for that. But it's like it's just amazing that she even exists in the world. Like I would be a different person, Karen, if it weren't for my sister. And that's not a codependent statement. That's like a loving statement. Like she is like a beacon of light and like one of the best gifts of my life. Like that's the truth. I know now I'm gonna cry.
Oh no. It's a crying episode. Here we go, folks.
Here we go.
I mean, that is really beautiful. And I mean, I feel the same way about my sister and my mom and my grandmother who's still alive and my crazy cousins. And I feel like I also have definitely been shaped by the strong women in my life. And yeah, the example they've set about how to move through the world. I feel like it's really important to have people who show you how to be. Like my mother is like a huge giver. Like she is like the queen volunteer, like retired allegedly however many years ago, but is constantly working on different volunteer projects and with her church and all of these things. And I feel like I absolutely have that. And I feel so lucky to have been raised by somebody like that. Cause I think you and I both know people who don't have that, whatever that helper gene is, they don't have it.
No.
And I'm so grateful that I do.
That's so wonderful. And that's such a beautiful thing to like embody and like that's yes, I have like the love gene from my grandmother. Like she grew up she was one of the older siblings in a family of 10 and basically like her youngest sister was 16 years younger and then she kind of like had to I don't know if it was mothering or what it was, but just like she went through so much adversity, like oh yeah, like stuff that I just cannot stomach to think about at times, like really bad stuff. And but somehow she made it through her life with like some sort of like I don't know, it was like she was like sitting on a rainbow most of the time. Sometimes she wasn't. Sometimes some days she wasn't, but most days she like really looked at things. Maybe it was because she went through the war, maybe it was because a lot of things. But yeah, I think that some of the stuff that has really stuck with me the most is watching them as they've gone through things that you're like that are unimaginable, which is sad to say, but I think that most, if not every woman in the world can say that they've gone through things that are unimaginable, and it's just like how they come out of that or how they cope with it. And sometimes it's not always like gorgeous. Sometimes it's actually like they're in the shit for a decade, and they are just, but like even then, like there's something to learn from every woman as they go through this different adversity in their lives. There is so much to love about International Women's Day, but I do actually think that there's a lot to be said about the continuous, serious struggles that are going on right now.
Yeah.
We can't just look at this day and be like, sweet, great, equality. We're
Right.
good. We're
Right.
not fucking good.
We're done. I obviously have a lot of feelings about this. And I will say one thing. We were talking earlier about like, one of the things that makes me angriest about these cultural movements, i.e. Me Too, is as wonderful as they are and as affirming as they are and as empowering as they are, have they made the world a safer place for most women in their everyday lives? And that's, for me, the most important thing. And just this week in Chicago, we're having, there's an artistic organization. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's an artistic organization that's been around for a long time that is blowing up because of very, very serious allegations that they have not kept the name young. The word young is in their title,
Oh no.
the title of the organization, and they have not been keeping young people very safe. And right. And there was this like boys club mentality of like, oh, so he's just going to be like that. Like, oh, wait, what? And that people have been raising these concerns since 2014. And it took a very well-known person to raise these allegations for them to like, for this reckoning to be happening right now with this and this organization. And it's just like, 2014 was a long fucking time ago. How many kids, how many people have been harmed in the meantime?
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah. That's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. And it's so infuriating to me because you're right. Like talking about these cultural movements and like as much as visibility matters, and yes, it's good that we're talking about this, like the average experience of a woman every day is that I mean, it depends on the person, and I'm not going to speak for all women, but it's not always easy. It's like there's a very specific amount of tightrope walking, I feel like women do in their day-to-day life, and like how they talk, how they look, how they act, how they respond to things. Like there are so many filters and filters of filters of filters that women have to live through and go through. And even like, like I'm so glad that what you're discussing is coming to light, and yet it's so infuriating that this is a thing right now.
yeah. Ooh, the filters. I really, I just, I, I really wonder, people who don't have the filters, I just wonder if they recognize like how many times we write and rewrite things and how much thought we give into every word that we say so that we won't be perceived a certain way, and like all of it.
Literally every word. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot. I have very mixed feelings about these memes that I see on social media about like women who use a lot of exclamation points in their emails, and they're worried that that someone will perceive them in like a immature light. And so I've seen some women say like, fuck it, I'm just going to include that. That's just what my personality is. Like they can just deal with it, which is totally fine. Like they should be their own person. And then other people are like, oh no, I want to be perceived as what. But it's like it's the filter conversation. It's so tough. And it's I think the other thing is it's like it's so hard because even though like you and I are having this conversation and we're bringing to light how we feel or how like we see this cultural issue, I think it becomes internal. Like the misogyny is so incredibly pervasive. It's like and I'm not saying like women on women hate and like all like that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how it's like we turn those negative voices from the outside inside. Like we turn them on ourselves often.
And even worse, I feel like we have the negative voices inside and it makes us attracted to the negative voices outside.
Yes.
Like we somehow gravitate toward people who echo the crazy shit that our negative internal voices are saying. So you look around and you realize like, oh, all these people who are my friends just talk shit to me all the time or talk shit about each other. Or, I feel like
Yes.
that's how we end up in these toxic relationships, which I feel like is an overused phrase now, but I feel like that's part of how like you just are unconsciously drawn to people who like just throw shit at you.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. But and then on the other side, you see women, I see women every once in a while who are completely owning their brilliance, totally owning like I mean, they are the women who are usually given the most hate, and
Mhm.
they are usually on the receiving end of vitriol, like literal, like, I mean, things, I mean, Lizzo, again, if we want to go back to her, like, she is very vocal on social media about how much she loves herself and how much she also struggles, but like she's very, very public about her, like, owning her um incredible talent and her beauty and all of the things that make her who she is. And it's not that beauty is the only thing, but it's like, what is on the inside, like, it's just interesting to me when women do step out, when they are like,
Mhm.
I'm going to put on my Louboutin and I'm going to just like step out into the void of like the place where very few people are willing to step, because it's so scary to like go there and celebrate yourself and be like just standing on top of that mountain and like getting pelted by BB guns or just fucking bazookas. It's hard, it's amazing to me to see that as a woman, and then also it's like I'm like kind of like cowering for them because I know what they're going to be in for.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't really reward people like that very much. Like until it's cool to reward those people, right? Like
Yes.
I really what you're saying resonates with me a lot. Like as I'm thinking back on these 9 years of Rebellious, in 2012, we called ourselves a feminist magazine, but we were very quiet about it because in 2012, feminism was just this like, ooh, I don't know if you want to say that. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
so yeah, it's hard to look back and to have shoved ourselves out there. And not that I'm comparing myself to Lizzo. I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. Like we don't really reward the people who are trailblazers until we're all behind them.
Yes, exactly. But going back to Rebellious, like I remember when you launched and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like I think I met you like at this one little brunch that we went to and it was amazing and you were telling me about it and I was like, this is so amazing. I mean, but can I ask, like, what has it been like throughout those 9 years? Like, have you been on the, like, or if you want to talk about it, if you
Oh,
don't, totally fine. But like, is it like, have you had moments where you're like, because me from the outside, it's like, oh my gosh, Karen is such this incredible person who is really going for it and like adding real value and incredible beauty to the world and like raising the vibration of the universe with this platform. And it's like you're elevating the voices of other women writers or people who identify as women. Like it's just really incredible. But what has that experience been like for you as someone who is that trailblazer?
I mean, thank you for saying all of those things, Katie. I will pay you later. That
I
was
mean,
beautiful.
all
Thank
of
you.
them.
Thank you so much. I I appreciate that. And I don't even know. I mean, trailblazer in the sense of like having a feminist media company in Chicago in 2012. Like that was
Totally.
just not a thing that was happening. And I think I know I've talked about it just hasn't always been easy and it's certainly not easy now. And I think that as much as people talk about women and the importance of women, and there are all of these hashtags for International Women's Day and all of these things, like really when it comes down to, okay, what are you doing to actually support women you know? Like,
Mm.
what are you doing to lift up women in your lives? Like, that's great. You've retweeted Gina Davis. Like, what are you doing for the women you interact with all the time? I feel like that's a different conversation to have with people. And it's taken me a long time to find women who are encouraging and who believe in what I'm doing and who just I don't know. I feel like I spent a long time flailing with women business owners, no tea, no shade, who were like not good people, really.
Ooh. Like they're like, oh, we want to hop on this train, like because it's good for our image, but we're not actually into it.
We're not actually into it. We want to take a picture with you for our Black
Ew.
History Month Instagram post. We don't even know your name.
Oh God.
I mean, they're just not that I don't want to say they're not good people. Some of them are not good people. It took me a long time to find my people. And I think International Women's Day is a good day to remind ourselves how important that is, even in quarantine, even in not being able to see your people, like why it's important to have them.
Yes. And I feel like as we age, or at least I just speak for myself, as I age, my people become more and more limited and more crystal clear, I guess is what you could say. Like I am, yeah, I think the women that I am close to in my life now are my, like, I want to, I hope to be able to invest and foster those relationships for the rest of my life. Like, and I'm sure that will change over time, but I do find that, like, when I was in my 20s, it was like, sweet, we're all hanging out and this is great. Oh my God. But it's like, wait, what do you actually believe in? Like, what are you like? No, no.
Just no.
No, just no. I mean, not to say that I like hung out with horrible people in my 20s, but it's you get more selective, I think.
I think you have to get more selective. Your time becomes more valuable.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Totally. Yeah. And I think it's like, yeah, it's so interesting. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you in the beginning of Rebellious. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is just,
Thank
I mean, barf.
you. I know.
For real.
It's a whole other podcast about
Yeah.
the women's business community. It's both beautiful and really awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think like one thing that I mean, I don't want to like prescribe anything for our listeners, but if you're someone who does not identify as female and you are listening to this podcast, like I just really encourage you to like explicitly appreciate the women in your life. And even even if you are someone who identifies as female, like it never gets old to just say like, hey, I really appreciate you, or like, just talking, like I feel like you and I do this every single time we're on this podcast, just innately, that we appreciate each other, like so great to see each other. It's like that's not to be taken for granted with other people in our lives. Like actually, you know what happened yesterday? I was having a really bad day and I got an email, and it was a totally cold email from this person that had gone to one of my workshops, and I kind of know her, like kind of, but she's really cool, like she seems great. And it was the most I seriously almost will cry talking about it. It was the most loving email, Karen. It was basically like, I just want to thank you so much for what you're putting into the world with your workshops. Like I really, think that, it was wonderful having this experience with you. And it was truly, that was it. There was no ulterior motive. It was a thank you email. That's it. And I was like, you know what? There's something to that. Like, I don't think no matter what no matter what the experience of a woman is, if like their life place or their, what they're doing in their lives, everyone deserves gratitude and everyone deserves appreciation from the people in their lives.
Absolutely. That's really beautiful. I'm so glad you got that. It really,
Oh my God, it made my heart like sore. Honestly, I wrote her back and I was like, you have no idea, like the fact that you took the time to write this, like, and it probably took her like 5 minutes, not even, and it like really mattered to me. Like it really did. And it's like, I, I just, I really encourage everyone to just text one person after you're done with this, this podcast, and like it just adds brightness. And text a woman and say like something that you love about them,
Yeah, I love that.
right?
That's really sweet. Yes.
Yeah. Even though it's still shitty out here for women. Like going back to that.
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back to the negative, please. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, International Women's Day, like, it's great.
We love it. Women's History Month.
It's so awesome. No, it is.
It's as long as it's not just part of your branding, it's actually who you are. That's great. But yeah.
But I love what you said earlier about like you know, it's not just about retweeting Gina Davis. It's not just about retweeting Kamala Harris and Amanda Gorman, who everyone should be retweeting. She's amazing. But like, I also, it's about what you're doing for the people in your life, the women in your life. Like, just show appreciation or be there for support. Or, you know, I mean, at the same time, I say that, I'm like, okay, we'll also have boundaries on your energy, whatever. But like, you know, like, give as much support as you are comfortable giving.
Yes. Well, and thank you can go a long way. I think there's a certain culture that's like, I'm not going to thank you for doing your job, or I'm not going to thank you for what, like, you know, it costs you nothing.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day to you, Katie. It was so wonderful to see you and to spend this time with you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I love it so much. Thank you so much. And we will see you all next week.